Hello students, my name is Shayan Mitra. I am the faculty member of Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering of Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management. Today I am going to take the class of Advanced Communication Engineering Lab. Subject code is ETC LSE S6, and as it is the introductory class of Advanced Communication Engineering Lab. Uh, in this segment, in this lecture, specifically, I'm going to describe, or I would say, I'm going to give a brief overview. I'm going to give a brief overview about the total topics we are going to cover in this SEM in this subject. Okay, so first of all, as we know, if we draw any kind of issuance from our subjects, the topics that I'm going to cover in the theory segment is mobile networks, uh, satellite communication, optical communication. So in case of optical communication, we are going to understand the specific features and functionalities of optical fiber, and in this class we are going to have detailed understanding about how optical fiber function. Okay. In the next segment, we are going to understand the mobile networks, the basic device which are basically used in different layers of mobile network, and we are also going to have descriptive description or descriptive analysis of different devices which are being used in mobile telephone in today's world. All this practical understanding through this online video lecture. And today we are going to start the mobile network part. And in mobile network, in the you're going to get to see the theory lecture we have described, the different application, different layers of mobile communication. So let's go with that. This is the lecture one. Yes. uh, and this is the picture. I'm going to give a brief description of this picture here. That here in physical layer, we know it basically used to have a dedicated communication line between two dedicated devices. Okay. So communication, optical fiber are being used, Ethernet, Wi-Fi are being used to do such kind of things. Okay. So these are the payloads that are being used. Okay. So this is the physical device Ethernet frame. This is the total frame that has been communicated as a bit frame uh, structure. The bit frame structure, it uh, communicate from one entity to another entity. Okay. So in the first case, the physical device which are going to understand it. Okay. And these are the physical devices we have used. In data link layer, we have used PPN, SLIP, Ethernet. These are the protocols. Okay. And this is the application data. Okay, this is the application data. Okay. This application data is basically come down from the application layer. So the physical layer, this is the dedicated information. It is a broadcast. It has a characteristic of broadcasting and collision domain. That collision domain will be eliminated in the data link layer. Okay. In the next layer, which is network layer, in network layer, there will be a communication between different networks, and in transport layer, all the different networks are being the data which are needed to be data that are needed to be transferred from one network to another network. The traffic condition or the process to process layer is known as transport layer, where the data is transport from one network from one network to another network. Okay. So then the protocol that are being used here is TCP and UDP. And in case of application layer, where we have three different subsegments in case of OSI model, so such are session layer, application layer. Okay, so these layers, in these layers we have used this kind of these protocols. Okay, so this is the user data. Okay. After the process in application layer, it has a app header. Okay, which basically follow the FTP, Telnet, TFT, HTTP or HTTPS protocol. Now after the transport layer process, it will have another header which is a TCP header. These two are converted to application data, and then this header are being added to after the transport layer process of data. After that, it will in after the process through network layer, another header which is the IP header will be mm, added to this TCP header, right? So each and every process, each and after going through each and every layer, there will be an extra header which is going to be added, right? Okay. So this is the final product which is going to be uh, communicated or transported through the physical devices which are being used for the communication between two different entities which are being known as mobile network or mobile entities, computer entities, anything, or data server, anything could be that specific entity. So we're not going to get into that the entity part. Okay, so this is the basic format, this is the basic structure through which all the layers, through which all the data are went through or are gone through. And after that the specific data will be transferred from one entity to the another entity. Okay, so this is the basic format, and this basic format is being controlled or is being navigated by very specifically used devices, and those devices are such as hubs. And let's go to the next slide. And this is the, now suppose this is the client or workstation. Suppose I am the client where I am requesting for few any kind of request, and this is the server which are providing me the acknowledgement signal. So to perform the transfer of data from this part to this part, the transfer of data from client part to the server part, okay, we need this data, these devices. And we will have first-hand experience through the this online video, okay, that how these devices works. Okay, the first, let go through the device which is named as repeater. Okay. This device and the how, this two device basically is used in physical layer. Okay, why? The function of repeater is nothing but to strengthen the signal which are being transmitted from one entity to the another entity. Okay, so suppose there will be some losses during the communication of the signal or the data from one entity to another entity. So during any kind of communication, suppose there is a loss of data or loss of signal strength, that repeater will help to increase the signal strength, or I would say the carrier, the signal strength, the carrier signal, which will provide the energy to the signal to communicate from the to communicate or to transport from that part to the receiving part or the destination part. Okay. Another device that we use is known as hub. Now what is the function of hub? We will go through that. So before that we'll get through the devices. Now the switch is a device which used in layer 2, okay, which is known as data link. Okay, okay. Switch and bridge both are basically used. Basically hub, when you use hub, the bridge is a better format of hub, and the layer 2 use switch, and the router is being used in layer 3, which is nothing but the network layer. And this router device also used in transport layer. So let's go through with a few picture which will help you people to which will help our student to understand the basic working principle of these devices. Okay, now let's go through that. Okay, now before getting into this dilemma, I'm going to understand. I'm going to give a explanation how this device work. Okay. Now these are the entities. These are the, suppose these are the computers which are connected with a dedicated communication line with the hub. Okay. Now what does this hub do? It will propagate the signal. Suppose this entity has generated a signal. Now the generated signal will go through this hub and it will broadcast it to each and every entity or computer network. Sorry, a computer entity, any kind of these, all these are entities. Okay. So one signal which is being generated from this entity will go through this hub and will broadcast it to each and every entity which is connected in this specific network. Okay. So this is the basic design. Now what is the dilemma? The purpose of this word, the dilemma is, now suppose we have a network which has this number of entities. These all entities are connected with a dedicated line with this hub, and similar for this and this network also. Now all this network will connected through this hub. It will not provide a efficient system. Okay. To get a efficient system with different network, we use a different devices. Now first, the hub will not control the broadcasting of signal, which will eventually raises the problem of collision domain. Okay. To stop that thing, to stop that nuance, we will introduce a device which is known as switch. Now the basic format or basic functionality of a switch is, okay, yes, so this is the hub. Okay, this is the network interface card and this is the hub. Okay, next. Now after, before getting to the part of switch, we will go through the device which is known as bridge. Okay. Now what is the function of bridge? Bridge is nothing but a combination, okay, or combination, basically combination of number of hubs. Okay. Now this bridge is basically create a specific, it will basically lengthen the network. Okay. So bridge is nothing but the combination of few hubs. Okay. Okay, before go to the router. Okay, so this is the, okay, this is the bridge. Okay, yes, and the last one is router. Now what is the function of router? Okay, and before that, okay, no, 1 second. Yes, so this is switch. Okay, and this is bridge. Okay, and this is a hub and a repeater. They are a repeater. So repeater will increase the strength of the signal. Hub will broadcast a signal from which has been generated from a specific device and broadcasted to the other devices which are connected in that specific network. Okay, to stop that broadcasting as well as the collision, to reduce the collision domain, we introduce the switch, which basically navigate the signal to that the specific destination. Now suppose one entity has raises a signal which needed to be transport to a specific entity. To do that, we use the device switch, which basically used to navigate the signal to that specific predetermined destination. Okay, and here, so this picture now, bridge is nothing but the combination of switch. Okay, so what we do to use to conduct a proper communication in a complicated network, we use bridges, which are basically combination of switches. Basically, suppose we have n numbers of networks. To communicate between all the networks, we need a superior device rather than switch, which is basically the bridge, which work as the navigational device to navigate the signal to the required entity. Okay. The last one is the router. Router basically also been applicable to the transport layer. Okay. So in the transport in the network layer, what will happen to communicate with specific network? Suppose we have a network here, okay, this is a network, okay, and this is also a network, different network. This is network n1, this is network n2, n3, and so on. To communicate the signal of this device to this device, we use this device, which is known as router. Router will navigate this specific signal, generate a specific signal from this device to this device, okay, and it will also reduce the collision domain. It will reduce the congestion and the traffic, okay. The traffic will reduce the traffic congestion. So router is basically the combination of switch, bridge, and hub, okay. It's a I would say a much well developed device rather than bridge, switch, and hubs, okay. So thank you. We'll end our lecture here, okay.